Hello everybody, I have nabbed the beautiful Amy. Hello Amy.
Oh, hello beautiful Karen.
Yeah, we rang up to speak to each other, but I've nabbed her now for a video.
Yes.
But I was showing, or I have shown or sent the pictures to Amy, but I was looking up King Arthur's sword, but it sort of led me in a different direction, and so I suppose I was just going to show you the pictures that I found. You found it interesting, didn't you, when I was telling you?
Yes, very interesting.
Yeah, oh Amy, I love you.
I love you too, Karen.
Oh, anyway, well on here, what it was is, what is the name of Arthur's second magical sword? You can follow along on the pictures, Amy.
Okay.
It says, is it Clarence? That's it, Clarence. C-L-A-R-E-N-T, that's Clarence, isn't it?
Yes.
Clarence is one of King Arthur's 2 magical swords. The first is Excalibur, the sword of war, and the second, Clarence, the sword of peace. The Clarence sword is less known because it was used for peaceful acts, whereas the Excalibur was well known because it was used to defend Camelot. And I said to Amy, I have never heard of the other swords. Have you, Amy?
I never did either.
Well, there's even more of them, isn't there?
Yeah.
Right, so on the next picture. What happened to the magical sword Excalibur when King Arthur died? So basically they're saying it's not from this realm, so as it's not from this realm, it has to be returned. And it comes from the Lady of the Lake. But that's the mythical story, isn't it?
Yes.
But it says because it's not from this realm. Maybe it just looks like she goes into the water.
Yeah.
So she's from another realm. Anyway, let's move on to the next picture. So, why is this Excalibur so powerful? It's associated with the rightful sovereignty of Great Britain. But I thought it was mythical. That's crazy, isn't it? If it's mythical, why is it associated with the rightful sovereignty of Great Britain?
Right.
As you see, it's been blessed by God himself, and so forth. So on to the next one. So it says at the bottom that Excalibur, scabbard, was said to have powers of its own. Yeah.
Yes.
All mythical though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Or not?
I thought it was mythical.
And then, Amy, you can look this one up. Remember the one with the 4 swords?
Yes.
So basically, there's 4 swords that Arthur had. So you've got the Clarence, which is fire, the Joyous, which is earth, the Durendal, which is air, and finally Excalibur, which is ice. And they create ether time. Fire, earth, air, and ice. They create ether time.
Yes, they create time. So saying they create time.
Wow. But anyway, have you ever heard of the 4 swords of Arthur?
I never did. I never knew there were 4 swords. It's really interesting.
So I looked them up now. So on to the next one. So the Clarence sword was owned by King Arthur. It was a ceremonial sword and a sword of peace, which Arthur inherited from his father, Uther Pendragon.
Yes.
Okay, so that's that one.
Right.
The Joyous was in medieval legend the sword wielded by the Charlemagne as his personal weapon. A sword identified as Joyous was used in the French royal coronation. So I thought we'd just go and look this up a little bit. Yes, Amy?
Sure, yes.
We'll be back in a second. So we've gone and looked up the Charlemagne, And he comes from Germany. And Amy's going to say a little bit, aren't you, Amy?
Yes. Well, it says that first it says he was a former Holy Roman Emperor. And then it says that he was the king of the Franks from 768, king of the Lombards from 774, and emperor of what is now known as the Carolingian Empire from 800, holding these titles until his death in 814. So,
Wow.
Yeah. He united most of Western and Central Europe and was the first recognized emperor to rule in the West after the fall of the Western Roman Empire approximately 3 centuries earlier. Charlemagne's reign was marked by political and social changes that had lasting impact in Europe throughout the Middle Ages.
But it's before that, isn't it? Because, well, obviously he had an impact in the Middle Ages still, because he was 768. So is that Arthur? Is he Arthur?
Well, I don't know.
And that sword is in the Louvre now. His sword.
Yeah.
The sword they're talking about, his sword. So it obviously lasted from 768 to now, if this history is correct.
Yes.
And, oh my God, a Roman emperor again. When are we ever free of these things?
Oh, I know. It's crazy.
I mean, it looks very religious as well. But, you know, there's a picture here and you're thinking, well, he's got a crown on his head, but is he the Arthur? Anyway, we're going to get on with it, but we're just going to get on with the pictures. But is he the Arthur? Well, I didn't think it would lead me here.
But yeah, possibly so.
Let's carry on with the pickies, Amy.
Okay.
So, the powers of the joyous. So it says it can almost kill anything. But basically, its powers are capable of creating ley lines and ley gates. So, yeah. So it's a bit like, you know, when we watch the heroes, you know, you've got who flies in the air with a cape? I can't think what he's called now. Superman. You've got Superman, and then you've got the superheroes. It's like these swords are like that.
Yeah.
They're super swords.
Yes.
Well, I never heard of these swords before, but we'll carry on, because that is what it says about the joyous. And then the next one. Oh, so basically it's still used today in coronation ceremonies. And it comes right back from that, and it's all to do with the Romans. And if they're using it today, we're in the same system, because if you're not interested in the Romans, you're not going to be using the same things. Oh, it's ridiculous, isn't it, Amy?
That's right. It is, Karen, yes.
People need to wake up. We're told we're living in one thing, but we're not. We're living in something else.
Oh, that's right.
Well, anyway, I just wanted to find out about Arthur, but we're not very near Arthur. And then the Durandal, I'm hopefully saying that right, also spelled Durandal, is the sword of Roland, a legendary paladin, I don't know if I said that right either, and partially historical officer of the Charlemagne in the French epic literature. So that's another sword related to the Charlemagne.
Yeah.
These super swords. These are super swords.
Yes, they are.
And they're here today.
Oh, I know. That's unbelievable.
But on this one, it says it's a mythical sword. But they've got some of these swords. They haven't got all of them, but they've got some of them. One of them's in the Louvre. And then they said basically, this one has gone missing. This one, because it got thrown. They hurled the blade so hard it flew over 100 miles before piercing a rock 32 feet above the ground. And then you think, that almost sounds like the sword in the stone with Arthur, doesn't it?
It it does.
Although it says 32 feet above ground, but it could have hit a flat plane, a little plane or something up there. I don't know. But that sounds a bit more like Arthur, doesn't it? But it says mythical.
Oh, yes.
I don't really get all this. Anyway, back to this one.
I don't either.
What is the power? So, cutting through giant boulders with a single strike. It's and was indestructible.
Yeah.
And then those are abilities, the Durandal abilities. What you could have if you had them, that's what it would be. But anyway,
right.
Some of the swords.
Well,
a few of them are still
a lot
here.
of things.
So I looked this one up. Is there a sword opposite to Excalibur? Caliban is the bad counterpart to Excalibur. The one who wields it cannot be killed, nor can he bleed as long as he holds the scabbard that sheaths it. The two swords had been created together in order to bring the balance so that no one Merlin would be more powerful. I don't quite know what that means, but that's what it says. Right.
Yes, no one Merlin would be the more powerful.
Okay.
Well.
What sword is stronger than Excalibur? Well, I'm not saying that one. The Marmidos, or however you say it. But anyway, that one is supposed to be more powerful than Excalibur. And you're thinking, I thought this is all myth.
Right, that's what I thought.
But it isn't. It's really. So this one is, are there two Excalibur swords? So they're saying yes.
Yeah. Right.
That there was, but there isn't. There's four.
Exactly.
I thought Arthur had one.
Me too.
And then, because it so relates to the French family, it sounds like Arthur is French. He can't be.
Really?
It's just very strange that these swords, which were Arthur's, are in the French family.
Yeah.
What about Tintagel? I've been there. What about who's supposed to be there? I've been to Arthur's Seat, the Arthur's Castle there with Merlin's cave underneath.
Right.
At Tintagel, I've been there.
Oh, wow.
What's all that about then, if the swords really belong to French people?
I know.
I don't know. What's your thoughts, Amy? I don't really get that.
I don't either. It sounds like just another way that they've changed the history, or that they've not explained the history properly, or something like that. Just, in other words, how we never know the real history of what anything is. It sounds like there's something that they haven't told us properly about it.
Maybe every country's got a King Arthur, sort of. Well, that one's in the royal family, isn't it? So he's not like King Arthur, but King Arthur was some warrior king.
Right.
I was a bit horrified because it's a bit like you get the television series, and then one day I was looking at something and it said King Arthur might not have been like the television program. He might have been just a warrior. And I thought, I'd never really thought about that he was just maybe a soldier. It was different.
Yeah.
It was different to how, because they portray them in the films and you think of them like that. Yeah.
Exactly.
I don't know what to make of that, because it was only because a King Arthur program came on last night, and I thought, I'm going to look up Excalibur, but I didn't really. Basically, let me just find one other one that might explain it a bit more. I was putting in because I saw it, but we haven't got there yet. But the fact that Excalibur was called something else before, and then when you put Excalibur on it, it belongs to the family in France. So I'm not reading well because that's Welsh. The colour, whatever that is there, this one here is Welsh, but you can read this. So we have a Welsh name, and then Caliban, that was in earlier on, we talked about that. There's the Brittany, that's to do with the Isle of Avalon. Oh God, it's sounding so mythical, isn't it? Then you've got Excalibur, but spelt differently. And then there you go, an explanation. First of all, the Welsh called it that.
Yes.
I thought we were talking about King Arthur.
I know.
So far, everything. Anyway, we're just going to carry on, Amy. It says, "What is the sword called Excalibur?" And it says there that the same as in the sword in the stone, which is the joyous sword, because it got flung 100 miles into the stone. It's got to be the joyous sword. And that's why it went into the stone, because that thing could cut stone, blah, blah, blah. How weird is that, Amy? But down here, the other one, the Excalibur, which we just talked about again, so they are the same sword. But look at that, it says Excalibur is the old French version. Why does it have to be French?
Yes, I don't know.
What, because we were taken over by the French? So at that time it happened when they were here, and it was called Excalibur. But it's not, it was called something else. Oh, it's called so many different names. It's a bit like religion and Jesus all over again.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't mean that to be blasphemous, but anyway. You know what I mean? There's so many different versions of it now.
I know what you're saying, yeah.
Well, they don't even really mention Arthur, do they?
I know.
Have you noticed the lack of Arthur?
Right.
And he must have been older, because the Welsh have got names for it. So Arthur had to. He wasn't medieval. He had to be back in the 700s.
Yes. Yeah, probably so.
Mystical Lady of the Lake. That bit probably is a bit. But if they come from other realms, then maybe they used to appear above the water. But they come from other realms. I don't know. But anyway, it's all to do with mythology. So, but it isn't, is it?
Right.
Oh, I don't know. But anyway, we just thought we'd go and have a look at that. So it says here about Arthur that basically he is post-Roman Britain in the battles against the Anglo-Saxons in the 5th and early 6th centuries. So those swords are even older than that, if you believe this. And if they were his swords, maybe this is why they've got at least one of them.
Right.
I hadn't realised he was quite as old as that, but and the castles are still there. Anyway, let's have a look at what they're showing this as King Arthur. Well, it's really, I think
so, it must be.
But you know, at Tintagel Castle, when I went, the one thing that was most amazing was it just had an amazing awe about it. It was a peace. Tintagel's lovely as well. You park on the beach at certain times of the day till the tide comes in. Park on the beach. Yeah, there's a car park.
Where is it in England?
It's in North Cornwall.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really neat.
But wouldn't it have been amazing if King Arthur did have some magical swords, like especially they're calling it Excalibur, but Excalibur fits into that other sword that went into the stone.
Yeah.
And there was 4 swords anyway, and there seems to be, it was called other things as well. It's almost like that's Jesus in another version, because there's so many stories about it. The Welsh have got it, the French have got it. It's like, how does that happen?
I know. Yeah, that.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Why would you want to lose that history?
Right. You wouldn't.
This is probably where, well, anyway, I don't want to turn it into, I was going to say, it's probably where religion starts, but the Romans just seem to be there all the frigging time, don't they? When have they ever let go of us?
I know.
And they're still here today, everybody.
Yes.
Do you think we've done enough now, Amy?
Pardon?
Do you think we've done enough now?
Yes.
All right then. Well, thank you for letting me nab you, and thank you for helping me do the video.
Oh, you're so welcome.
You bet. What it is I pay Amy later, don't I, Amy?
Yes.
Anyway, thanks a lot, Amy. Appreciate it. Thanks very much.
You're welcome, Karen.
Love you, Amy.
Love you too, Karen.
Love you, chat room.
Love you, chat room.